Be playing some songs off a record we got over here, and we'll sell it to you. And shirts and all those things. There's a song I wrote called I Live in the Now. way back country picker. I'm so happy to be right here in Whitesburg with you all. I'm super happy to see you driving and crying here in a few minutes. You know, I like to do a couple of things. I like to play good country music, and I like to try and treat everybody right. But sometimes you gotta play just a little bit of rock and roll. Is it okay if we slip in just a little bit of rock and roll? Now don't clap till you hear it. Comes to rock and roll, there's one king, and his name is Elvis Presley. And we're gonna do a number by the king. Actually, it's written by Chuck Berry, but Elvis does the best version, I think. Thank you, the king. A little song by the king. We know the king. Man, I swallowed a bug or something there. It's about to take me out.
We got your chair. We got your chair. You guys have your chair over there?
I'm from down in Lawrence County. Any folks ever been down around Lawrence County, Kentucky?
I'm so sorry.
I live where they put Yatesville Lake, and they ran us out of there. But in the 60s, sometime they came through and they brought us a phone line through there, and they just run one line up our holler and just hooked everybody on the same phone line. Which means we wound up being on the party line. How many of you guys have been on the party line before? Oh yeah, you're my people. So when you're on the party line and your neighbor gets a call, your phone rattles just a little bit. And if you pick it up, you can listen to what they're talking about. Not that my family ever did that. I just read about it. But you can learn a lot of interesting stuff about your neighbors, and they can learn a lot of interesting stuff about you. And I picked up on quite a bit of information, and I'm going to share it with you right now. Here's a song called Party Line. so much. On the party line. Playing bass tonight and the man with the coolest shirt in the band. Give it up for Mr. Howie Felter on the bass. No stranger to Whitesburg, playing all the good beats. A man who eats his lunch standing up every day. Give it up for Bartholomew Dixon. The piston that drives the engine. The atomic fireball. A woman who's out of control on the rhythm guitar and vocals. My wife, Honey. When I told her we was coming to Whitesburg, she was so excited. I mean, she is tore up to be here today. That's how she gets. You know, in my town, talking about Lawrence County in Louisiana, there was a guy in my town who worked on radiators and carburetors, and just if you had a hole in your gas tank, he could fix it. He was great with working with metal. His name was Jim Frank. So I'd always go down and get Jim Frank to fix stuff for me. Just a super cool guy. I got a little older and got in a rock band, just out swarping and playing music. And I noticed Jim Frank would come and watch me play. And I just didn't get it. I thought, why is this guy who works on radiators and gas tanks coming to watch me play music? So I get to talking to him. As it turns out, Jim Frank was a classically trained trombone player and attended Juilliard School of Music and could have done that for a living. But instead, he decided to stay at home and fix radiators and gas tanks. And I just thought that was super cool. And he was just an awesome guy, and I'm glad I got to know him. I'm glad he lived in my town, so I wrote a song about him, and it's called Jim Frank, and it goes like this right here. Jim Frank. I didn't know him that well. Maybe we'll write another song about him as I learn a little. So as short as that song is, you maybe feel ripped off. I'm going to make it up to you. I'm going to do a song right now I wrote called Kathy with an 8-Ball. And by the time it's over, you will wish it was as short as Jim Frank. Kathy with an 8-ball down at the pool hall, chalking every cue she meets, breaking hearts and busting balls. Let's see how far she falls. It's gonna take Kathy home tonight. For us to judge Kathy as we drive by in our big fancy car and she's there in the gutter. But Kathy always wasn't that girl. There was a time when she was young and beautiful and had dreams and aspirations just like us. I remember back in school, Kathy used to date the star welder at the school. He was all district welding. Made the playoffs. Few people realize that here in the state of Kentucky, welding is a KHSAA sanctioned sport. But they never could work it out so Kathy could be on the cheer squad for the welding team. Some kind of fire code they didn't meet. Anyway, Kathy was dating old Billy Mack all through school. And after they got out of school, it wasn't long before they were married. And they got him a nice house out on the outskirts of town. And well, Billy got a job down at the local freight yard, loading the big rigs. One evening, Billy Mack came home with some great news, and he said, "Kathy, I've got a job with Carolina Freight, and I'm going to be driving across the country." And soon Billy Mack was off seeing those places that they'd only dreamed of. While Billy Mack would run that rig up to places like Coos Bay, Oregon, San Francisco, California. He would run down to Austin, Texas, Sarasota, Florida. Well, I remember one time he made a run to Kansas City, Kansas. And when he got back, the dispatch sent him back out to Kansas City, Missouri. Now seriously, what was Missouri thinking? Kansas already had Kansas City wrapped up, but they had to name their town Kansas City too, not to be outdone. So I guess it's not a very creative bunch in that part of the country. Every time that Billy Mack would be going on those big runs, when he would return home, he would bring Kathy a single red rose, because that would signify that Kathy was indeed the rose of Billy's heart. But one time, Billy didn't come home. Ever. Word got out that he was hanging out down in Carter County at the Smoky Valley truck stop, chasing those Carter County girls and playing pinball. At first, Kathy was in denial. She started drinking a little too much. She dropped out of the Spring Hill Recipe Club. That was for you, Christy. And then she started hanging out down at the local pool hall. Now, folks, I'm not here to judge, but you know what kind of people hang out down at the pool hall, don't you? It wasn't long before she had crossed paths with a boy named Leroy Jenkins. Now, Leroy's a pretty good boy, but he was a bit of a control freak. And he convinced Kathy that Kathy should get rid of all of her cassette tapes and only listen to bands whose names started with the letter L. So they would meet down at the pool hall, and they would sit in Leroy's Chrysler LeBaron, and they would listen to bands like Loretta Lynn. They would listen to Los Lobos. They would listen to Wild Lovin'. They would listen to Lisa Loeb. That's 4 bands that start with double L's, and that's something that, you know, it's bound to be worth more points. They would listen to bands like Little Feat. They would listen to the Led Zeppelin. They would listen to the Lynyrd Skynyrd. Keep waiting, it'll come around. They would listen to Little Jimmy Dickens, Limp Bizkit, L7. They would listen to Living on a Prayer, a musical tribute to Bon Jovi, produced by Richie Sambora. Did I say LL Cool J? But the most important band they ever listened to was our friends from Canada. of my heart. You better start from start. Wanna be in the show. Come on, baby, let's go. Kathy with an 8-ball there for you all. Hell of a tragedy. Hey, I appreciate y'all making it through that. I didn't know if I would. Do a couple, 3 more, and we'll get driving and crying up here because I'm super excited. You know, I've been following Driving and Crying around. I've seen them probably 5 or 6 times here in the last couple of years, and they are just killing it right now. You all picked the right show to come to. Before we bring, I know Kevin likes to do some folk songs, so I'm going to do a folk number right now. Some buddies of mine up in New York had a little band. I'd like to pay tribute to them. Here's a little number called Godzilla. Go Godzilla. But I'm a whirling. Go Godzilla. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. Thank you so much. I was driving one time from upstate New York trying to get back home, and I've been on the road for a long time, and I went through a town called Wellston, West Virginia. You guys ever been to Wellston? 1 or 2 of us? I've been on the road a little too long, and things were getting a little funky, and I was listening, and David Bowie came on the radio, and the conditions were just right, so I stopped in Wellston and went to the Dairy Queen, and I wrote this song. And it's not an endorsement of drugs of any sort, but this just happened. It's called Dave Bowie. She could be dating a nurse that works a night shift at the nervous hospital. could be under the curse of a man who dug a well and found a Chinese army. It's real. Look it up. They don't teach you that in school. She could be driving the hearse with the man who bought the world from old Dave Bowie. Well, he bought the whole Dookie was the spiders from Mars. Thanks so much, Dave Bowie. Think about it, he bought the whole world from Dave Bowie. Probably on the taxes. Appreciate y'all coming. Probably the reason I'm here is we wrote a little goofy song about a year ago and we recorded it right here in Whitesburg at the Fat Baby Studio, produced by this lovely gentleman, Kenny Miles. It's about my car I drive out here. It's an old cop car. It's called my Dauphin County Cadillac. Because I don't want to play that with the face pedal on it. I've driven this car. It's got almost 300,000 miles on it. I wouldn't be surprised to squeeze another 100 out of it. You just change the oil and put tires on it and hammer down the road. Thank y'all for coming and sitting and listening to us, and we're going to have some fine rock and roll here in a second. Here we go. Boys, I'll steer you right. Crown, big fleet. I know another one. Yeah. And I mean, I just know one more, so that's. I was thinking about some Don Williams. We learned this on the way up here, so hang with us. If I lose some words, help me out. Change. It's in D, everybody. Set my watch back too. You know that I've been through living on tons of time. Thank you all, Connie.